Dr. Marcus Denali's boots crunched over the crystalline surface of Proxima Centauri B's largest moon. The expedition was supposed to be routine, collect samples, document atmospheric variations, and return to the research vessel horizon. A faint shimmer in the distance caught his eye, something that didn't belong among the monotonous silvery landscape. "Base, I'm detecting an anomalous reading 2 kilometers east of my position," Marcus reported through his helmet comm, going to investigate. "Negative, Denali," Commander Rivera's voice crackled back. "Storm front approaching. Return to base immediately." Marcus hesitated, glancing at the distant disturbance. "With all due respect, Commander, this could be significant. 20 minutes, tops." The silence stretched before Rivera reluctantly agreed. 20 minutes. Not a second more. As Marcus approached, the shimmer resolved into a twisted mass of iridescent material, clearly artificial and unlike anything human-made. The wreckage of what must have been a spacecraft was scattered across a shallow crater. Most of it had been reduced to unrecognizable fragments, but one section remained partially intact, gleaming with strange, pulsing light. That's when he saw her. At first, he mistook the form for another piece of debris. Her skin had an opalescent quality that mirrored the wreckage around her. But there was something unmistakably alive about the way light seemed to flow beneath her surface in weakening pulses. Marcus knelt beside the fallen figure. She was humanoid but distinctly alien, her limbs longer and more fluid than human anatomy would allow, skin translucent in places, revealing a complex network of luminous veins. Her face was hauntingly beautiful, with features both familiar and foreign, large, lidless eyes now closed, a delicate nose, and lips that seemed to shimmer with their own inner light. She wasn't moving, but the faint patterns of light beneath her skin told Marcus she was alive. "Base, I've found a survivor," he reported, his voice tight with urgency. "Not terrestrial origin. Critical condition. Denali, this is a code black situation," Rivera responded immediately. "Maintain quarantine protocol. Mark the location and retreat. A specialized team will out." "She's dying, Commander," Marcus interrupted, already running medical scans. "By the time your team arrives, she'll be dead. Those protocols exist for a reason, Doctor. We don't know what biological threats." "I'm bringing her in," Marcus said firmly, already preparing a portable containment field. "My medical bay is equipped for isolation. I take full responsibility." As he carefully moved her into the containment unit, her eyes fluttered open, entirely silver, with no discernible pupil or iris. For a moment, they locked onto his, and a faint pattern of blue light pulsed across her skin before fading again. The journey back to the horizon was tense. The alien woman remained motionless except for the increasingly erratic flickers of light beneath her skin. Marcus monitored her vital signs, completely unlike human norms but clearly weakening. In the ship's medical bay, Marcus worked frantically, trying to understand her physiology well enough to save her. Hours passed as he analyzed tissue samples and ran simulations, knowing each moment might be her last. When dawn broke on the moon's 38-hour day cycle, Marcus had barely slept. He had stabilized her condition, but just barely. The alien woman remained motionless on the examination table, now enclosed in a specialized chamber that simulated what he believed to be her native atmosphere. As he leaned close to check a reading, her eyes suddenly opened again. This time, they focused clearly on his face. A complex pattern of lights cascaded across her body, from her throat to her fingertips. "Can you understand me?" Marcus asked softly, though he knew it was unlikely. She remained still, but the lights beneath her skin pulsed in what seemed like a deliberate pattern. Then, with visible effort, she raised a hand, just slightly, toward him. Marcus hesitated, then placed his gloved hand against the chamber wall where hers rested on the other side. The lights beneath her skin intensified at the almost contact, and the corners of her mouth lifted in what he could have sworn was a smile. In that moment, Marcus knew his career and possibly his future were now tied to this mysterious visitor from the stars. Whatever she was, wherever she came from, he was determined to help her, no matter the cost. 2 weeks had passed since Marcus brought the alien woman aboard the Horizon. He'd named her Alara in his notes, after Jupiter's moon with its unique luminescent properties, though he had no idea what she called herself. Commander Rivera had been furious, threatening court-martial, but even she couldn't deny the scientific importance of this first contact. The Horizon remained in orbit around the moon, their mission extended indefinitely while Marcus worked to save his patient. Today marked the first real breakthrough. Marcus entered the medical bay to find Alara sitting upright, her silver eyes tracking his movement across the room. The bioluminescent patterns beneath her skin pulsed in steady, deliberate sequences. "Good morning," Marcus said, approaching the chamber cautiously. "You're looking stronger today." Alara tilted her head, the lights under her skin shifting to a curious blue pattern. Over the past days, Marcus had begun to recognize certain recurring patterns. This one seemed to indicate attention or interest. He pressed his palm against the chamber wall, something that had become their ritual greeting. To his surprise, Alara mirrored his action perfectly, pressing her slender hand against his through the barrier. The chamber's sensors registered a faint electrical charge where their hands would have met if not for the barrier. "I wish I could understand you," Marcus murmured. As if responding to his frustration, Alara's skin illuminated in a complex cascade of colors. Then, with visible effort, she raised her other hand and pointed to the neural interface Marcus used for his research. Marcus hesitated. The interface was designed for human neural patterns, not alien ones. But Alara's gaze was insistent. "It could harm you," he warned, knowing she couldn't understand his words. Alara's lights pulsed more intensely, and she tapped the wall impatiently. Against his better judgment, Marcus modified the interface and passed it through the chamber's sterilization field. With surprisingly deft movements, Alara attached it to the base of her skull, where her skin was most transparent. The moment the connection was made, the ship's communication system crackled to life. "Gratitude. Painless now." The words were stilted, clearly filtered through translation algorithms never designed for her neural patterns. Marcus nearly fell backward in shock. You can understand our language?" "Yes, studying your transmissions, since entering your star system." Alara's lights pulsed in synchronization with her translated words. "I am, scientist. Like you." Over the next hours, Marcus learned that Alara had been part of a deep space research mission. Her vessel had malfunctioned, forcing her to jettison in an escape pod that crashed on the moon. Her species, the Lumidari, communicated primarily through bioluminescent patterns and bioelectric fields, with vocalization used only for emergencies. "Why couldn't you move when I found you?" Marcus asked, fascinated by everything about her. "Hibernation response to critical injury." Her lights pulsed softly. "You saved me, when I could not save myself." As days passed, Alara regained more mobility. Marcus found himself spending all his free time in the medical bay, their conversations growing longer and more personal. He learned that the Lumidari valued knowledge above all else, which explained Alara's insatiable curiosity about humans. One evening, as Marcus shared images of Earth on his tablet, he noticed Alara's light shifting to a pattern he hadn't seen before, soft purples and blues flowing like gentle waves across her skin. "What does that pattern mean?" he asked, pointing to her arm. Alara hesitated, her silver eyes studying his face. "It is difficult to translate. Similar to your concept of affection, appreciation of another's essence." Marcus felt his cheeks warm. "Oh, does this make you uncomfortable?" The pattern dimmed slightly. "No," Marcus replied honestly. "Just unexpected." That night, Marcus authorized the removal of Alara's chamber barriers, their atmospheric analysis having confirmed no biological threats. As the barriers retracted, Alara stepped forward tentatively, her feet touching the ship's floor for the first time. Standing before him without barriers, she seemed both more alien and more person. Her height, nearly 7 feet, made her tower over him, yet there was a gentleness in the way she moved. Slowly, Alara extended her hand as they had done countless times through the barrier. When Marcus placed his palm against hers, a gentle current passed between them, carrying with it a sensation of warmth and understanding that transcended words. "This is how my people truly speak," she explained, her lights pulsing in rhythm with Marcus's heartbeat. Through connection. In that moment, something shifted between them, a bridge forming across the vast gulf of their differences. As their hands remained connected, Marcus realized that what had begun as a rescue mission had evolved into something far more profound and uncharted than he could have imagined. The Horizon's observation deck offered the most breathtaking view on the ship, a panoramic window revealing the swirling azure atmosphere of the moon below and the glittering tapestry of stars beyond. It was here that Marcus now spent most evenings with Alara, watching her silver eyes widen with delight as she pointed out constellations from her world's perspective. "That cluster there," Marcus said, gesturing toward a distant formation, "we call that Cassiopeia." Alera's bioluminescent pattern shimmered with interest. In my language, those stars are called Nilith, the dreamer's path. Her neural interface translated her thoughts with increasing fluency now. My people believe that dreams travel along those stars to find us. That's beautiful, Marcus replied softly, increasingly entranced by her way of seeing the universe. 3 weeks had passed since Alera had left the medical chamber. Her recovery had been remarkable. She now moved with fluid grace through the ship, her tall form adapting to human environments with surprising ease. The crew, initially wary, had gradually accepted her presence, some even seeking her company to learn about her advanced understanding of stellar physics. But it was only with Marcus that Alera shared her more personal thoughts and cultural nuances. Only with him did she display the soft purple-blue luminescence that he now recognized as her expression of affection. "May I show you something?" Alera asked, the patterns beneath her skin shifting to an expectant amber hue. When Marcus nodded, she carefully took his hand in hers. By now, he was accustomed to the gentle bioelectric current that passed between them during contact, a pleasant tingling sensation that seemed to connect them on a level deeper than physical touch. This time, however, Alera placed her other hand against the base of his neck, sending a stronger current through his body. Suddenly, Marcus gasped as his visual perception altered dramatically. The stars outside the window transformed, revealing spectrums of light invisible to human eyes, cosmic radiation visualized in brilliant swirls of color. "This is how you see," he whispered in awe. "Part of how I see," she confirmed, the lights under her skin pulsing in sync with his heartbeat. "My people share perception through touch. It is intimate." When she withdrew her hand, Marcus felt a profound sense of loss as his vision returned to normal. The experience had left him shaken, not from fear, but from the intensity of the connection. "Thank you for sharing that with me," he said, his voice thick with emotion. Alera's skin rippled with a new pattern, deep violets and blues intertwined with sparks of gold. "That pattern," she explained hesitantly, "among my people, it signifies deep spiritual connection. What humans might call love," Marcus offered, barely audible. "Similar," she acknowledged, her silver eyes holding his gaze. "Though perhaps more complex. A recognition of complementary souls." That night, in the privacy of Marcus's quarters, Alera taught him more about lumidary expressions of intimacy. With the ship's lights dimmed, her bioluminescence painted the room in soft, shifting colors as she guided his hands to specific points along her arms and shoulders where her bioelectric current was strongest. "Each connection point tells a different story," she explained as Marcus's fingers traced patterns along her luminous skin. "This is how we share memories, emotions, dreams." When his fingers reached a particularly sensitive nexus at the base of her neck, Alera's whole body illuminated with such intensity that the room was flooded with radiant blue light. The electrical current between them strengthened, and Marcus suddenly found himself experiencing fragmentary images from her consciousness, the crystal spires of her homeworld, the sensation of soaring through clouds denser than Earth's, the profound loneliness of drifting in her escape pod. As their connection deepened, Marcus felt an overwhelming urge to share himself equally. He leaned forward, pressing his lips gently against hers, a human gesture of intimacy that Alera had never experienced. She stiffened momentarily in surprise, then relaxed as understanding flowed between them through their connected bioelectric field. Their different forms of intimacy merged into something entirely new, his human physicality harmonizing with her luminous energy in a dance of connection that transcended both their species' typical expressions of closeness. As they embraced, the boundaries between their separate consciousnesses seemed to blur, creating a profound unity neither had ever imagined possible. Hours later, as they lay beside each other in comfortable silence, Alera traced patterns on Marcus's chest with one slender finger, leaving trails of light that lingered briefly on his skin. "What is this pattern?" Marcus asked, watching the swirling symbols she was drawing. Alera's silver eyes met his with an intensity that took his breath away. "In my language, it means forever changed. It is what we mark on our bodies when we have experienced something that transforms us entirely." Marcus covered her hand with his own, feeling the now familiar current flow between them. "I am forever changed too," he whispered, knowing with absolute certainty that whatever came next, there was no returning to who he had been before finding her among the stars. Approaching Earth orbital range in 15 minutes. The ship's automated announcement echoed through Marcus's quarters, where he and Alera sat side by side, fingers intertwined. The soft blue glow of her skin illuminated his worried expression. 5 weeks had passed since their first intimate connection, weeks filled with discovery and deepening bonds. But as Earth grew closer, reality intruded on their private world. Marcus had been avoiding Commander Rivera's increasingly pointed questions about quarantine protocols and the specimen. "You know what's waiting for us," Marcus said quietly. Earth Defense Protocol 27A states that any non-terrestrial life form must be quarantined and studied at the Lunar Scientific Detention Facility. Alera's lights pulsed in a pattern he now recognized as resignation. "I understand. Your people fear what they do not know. I won't let them treat you like a laboratory subject," Marcus insisted, squeezing her hand. The familiar current flowed between them, but now it carried undertones of anxiety. "You're a sentient being with rights, not some specimen." The intercom crackled. "Dr. Denali, report to the bridge immediately." Commander Rivera's voice was cold, professional, never a good sign. On the bridge, Rivera stood flanked by 2 security officers. Her expression hardened when she saw Alera entering behind Marcus. "Doctor, I've just received direct orders from Earth Command regarding your guest." She handed him a tablet displaying an official document. "The alien is to be immediately separated and contained until transfer to LSDF personnel." Marcus skimmed the document, his stomach churning. "This classifies her as potentially hostile non-terrestrial biological material." "She's a person, Commander." "She's an unknown entity," Rivera countered. "And you've compromised this entire ship by removing her from quarantine." "The decision is made." The security officers moved toward Alera, stun batons ready. "Wait," Marcus stepped between them. "At least let me explain the situation to her." Rivera hesitated, then nodded curtly. 2 minutes. Marcus turned to Alera, whose skin had dimmed to a muted gray, the lumidary expression of distress. "They want to take you away," he whispered. "To study you. I don't know what they'll do." Beneath his fingers, he felt Alera's bioelectric field intensify. "I feared this would come," she responded through their neural link. "But I did not wish to burden you with my concerns. We could try to negotiate her." "Marcus." Her silver eyes fixed on his with sudden intensity. "There are things about my physiology I have not shared with you. My people, we are not merely bioluminescent. The light is a byproduct of something deeper." Before Marcus could ask what she meant, Rivera's voice cut through. "Time's up, Doctor. Step aside." When Marcus didn't move, one of the officers roughly pushed him away from Alera. As the other approached her with restraints, Alera's entire body suddenly blazed with light so bright it momentarily blinded everyone on the bridge. When Marcus's vision cleared, he gasped. Alera stood transformed, her body now a semi-translucent column of swirling energy and light, electricity arcing between her elongated fingers. The officer who had tried to restrain her lay unconscious on the floor. The metal restraints melted into slag. "Stand down," Rivera shouted, drawing her sidearm. "Security lockdown." "Alera, don't," Marcus pleaded, terrified not for himself, but for her. "This will only confirm their fears." For a moment, Alera's energized form seemed to waver. Then, with visible effort, she condensed back into her more humanoid appearance, though her skin still crackled with barely contained energy. "I will not be imprisoned," she stated simply, her voice coming directly through the ship's communication system rather than her neural interface. "But neither do I wish to harm anyone." Rivera's weapon remained trained on Alera. "Dr. Denali, did you know your guest was capable of this?" "No," Marcus admitted, still processing what he'd witnessed. "But it doesn't change anything. She's defended herself, as any sentient being would." The standoff stretched for agonizing minutes, until Rivera's comm unit chimed with an incoming message from Earth Command. As she listened, her expression shifted from determination to confusion. "Apparently," Rivera said finally, lowering her weapon slightly, "there's been a development. We've received a transmission from a vessel approaching Earth's outer defense perimeter. Non-terrestrial origin, broadcasting on frequencies we've never used. They're asking about a scientist named," she struggled with the pronunciation. "Alera Theriax." Alera finished, lights pulsing with surprise across her skin. "My research vessel. They survived." Rivera studied Alera with new understanding. "It seems your people are more advanced than we realized. Advanced enough that Earth Command is suddenly very interested in diplomatic relations rather than detention." The commander's comm chimed again, and after listening, she sighed heavily. "New orders. The alien, Alera, is to be escorted to the diplomatic reception station to meet with her people. Dr. Denali will accompany as liaison, given his established relationship." As security escorted them to the shuttle bay, Marcus felt simultaneously relieved and devastated. Alara would be free, but what would that mean for them? In the privacy of the shuttle, he finally asked the question weighing on him. Were you ever going to tell me about your true form? Alara's luminescence dimmed apologetically. I feared it would change how you saw me. My people's energy state is considered sacred, shared only with those we trust completely. I was waiting until I was certain. Certain of what? Her hand found his, electric current flowing between them more powerfully than ever. Certain that what grows between us is real and lasting, not simply fascination with difference. As Earth grew larger in the viewport, Marcus realized they were approaching a crossroads neither had anticipated. Whatever came next would test the bounds of what they had built together in their brief time among the stars. The Andromeda Research Outpost hung in orbit above Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, far enough from Earth to avoid constant oversight, yet close enough to maintain connection with humanity. 6 months had passed since the tense standoff aboard the Horizon and the subsequent diplomatic whirlwind that followed first contact with the Lumidari. Marcus stood by the panoramic window in his private quarters, watching Jupiter's swirling clouds when the door slid open behind him. He didn't need to turn. The subtle electric charge in the air told him who had entered. The delegation is preparing to depart, Alara said, her voice now flowing naturally without the neural interface. She had learned to vibrate the air in ways that human ears could interpret, though her natural voice carried harmonics impossible for human vocal cords to produce. When Marcus turned, his breath caught as it always did at the sight of her. Alara had fully recovered her strength, her luminescence now a vibrant tapestry of colors constantly flowing beneath her translucent skin. She wore specially designed garments that accommodated her occasional transitions to her energy form, flowing fabrics interwoven with conductive materials that responded to her bioelectric field. Are you certain about staying? Marcus asked, crossing to her and taking her hands in his. 6 months ago, he would have marveled at the electric current that passed between them. Now it was as familiar as his own heartbeat. My people understand my decision, she responded telepathically, her preferred method of intimate communication. They have existed for millennia without knowing other intelligent life existed. Now that contact is established, there will be centuries of exchange between our cultures. She squeezed his hands, sending a pulse of affection through their connection. Besides, I have submitted my formal application to become the first Lumidari scientific liaison to humanity. Director Kapoor has already approved it. Their appointment to the research outpost had been a compromise that satisfied both human and Lumidari authorities. Here, away from Earth's fearful regulations but still within human space, they could work together to bridge the vast differences between their species. The Lumidari diplomatic vessel remained in Jupiter's orbit, a constant reminder of the historic nature of their relationship. Marcus led Alara to the small garden they had created in their quarters, plants from Earth growing alongside luminescent flora from Alara's homeworld, creating a perfect symbol of their union. I have something for you, Marcus said, retrieving a small box from his desk. I've been working with the metallurgists to create it. Inside lay 2 identical pendants, complex spirals of an iridescent metal that seemed to shift and flow like Alara's skin. As she touched one, it responded to her bioelectric field, glowing softly. It's beautiful, she whispered. It's made from a combination of Earth titanium and minerals from your escape pod, Marcus explained, fastening one around her neck. The lattice structure resonates with your bioelectric field. And this, he pointed to intricate markings etched into the surface, is the symbol you drew on my chest that first night. Forever changed. Alara's eyes shimmered with emotion as she helped him fasten the matching pendant around his own neck. The moment it touched his skin, he felt a familiar tingling, then gasped as a faint blue luminescence spread across his chest, emanating from the pendant. What did you do? He asked in wonder, watching the light dance across his human skin. A gift from my people, she explained, her pattern shifting to deep violet, profound love. The pendant contains specialized cells from my body. They respond to your electrical impulses, creating a field similar to my own. We call it soul sharing. It is our most sacred bond. As the light spread further across his body, Marcus felt a profound shift in perception. Suddenly, he could sense the bioelectric fields around him, Alara's brilliant presence, the subtle emanations from the plants, even the distant electrical systems of the outpost. This is how you experience the world? He whispered in awe. Part of it, she answered telepathically, the connection between them stronger than ever before. There is so much more I want to share with you. Their kiss bridged more than physical difference. It connected two evolutionary paths that had developed light years apart, yet somehow converged in this moment of profound intimacy. As their bioelectric fields merged, boundaries between them dissolved until it became impossible to distinguish where one ended and the other began. Later, as they lay entwined in their specially designed bed, Alara's form occasionally shifting between solid and luminous energy, Marcus traced patterns on her skin that he now understood as deeply as his native tongue. "The Lumidari delegation asked me something today," he said quietly. "They wanted to know if I would consider undergoing the molecular adaptation process their scientists have developed. It would allow me to transform partially into an energy state, like you. To live as long as you will." Alara propped herself up, her silver eyes wide. "They offered this to you? It has never been done with a non-Lumidari before." "I know it's experimental," Marcus acknowledged. "But they believe our connection makes me uniquely compatible." "And what did you tell them?" Her lights pulsed with anticipation. Marcus smiled, taking her hand and placing it over his heart, where the pendant glowed in rhythm with his heartbeat. "I told them that however many years we have, whether it's a human lifetime or a Lumidari one, every moment spent bridging our worlds would be worth it." Alara's joy manifested as cascades of radiant light that filled their quarters, her form momentarily shifting to pure energy before solidifying again in his arms. "Our connection defies everything both our species thought possible," she communicated directly to his mind. "Whatever path we choose together." Outside their window, Jupiter's great storm raged on as it had for centuries, indifferent to the small miracle of connection occurring in its orbit. Two beings from distant stars had found each other against impossible odds, creating something entirely new in the process, a bridge between worlds that would forever change the course of both their species. As dawn broke over Europa's icy surface, casting prismatic light through their window, Marcus and Alara stood together at the threshold of possibilities neither of their worlds had imagined before their hearts had found each other across the vast emptiness of space.